Welcome to the Mind Your Business Show with me, your host, Tierra Womack, where we talk about finding balance between your life and your soul led business, sharing the secrets of successful female entrepreneurs who are building wealth the inside out, combining mindset and business strategies to create success on their terms. And we are always talking the real deal in here. So, hello, my Mind Your Business family listening in. Before we dive into this episode, I want to ask you, have you taken a pause today? Have you noticed any limiting belief triggers popping up today? Your power is in your awareness. So just take a minute and get clarity on that. Okay, so now let me give you a very warm welcome to my lovely guest, Charylle Wolfe. Charylle is the founder of Spouse in the House, centered around building a business while living your happily ever after. Entrepreneurial couples hire Charylle to succeed and live happily ever after because most get stuck in the grind while living in quiet desperation and sacrifice. She helps capitalize and monetize the power of two, hashtag power couple life. So for my ladies in business with your boo, your spouse, your significant other, make sure you use hashtag power couple life. So hi, Charylle. I'm so excited to
Hi.
have you today.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and talk to you and your audience.
Yes, thank you. So let's jump in. You've shared with me the story behind Spouse in the House, and it's fascinating because here on the show, we talk about the mindset blocks and limiting beliefs that many others are afraid to talk about at high levels of success or in that power couple mode of what you work in. But can you share with the listeners how you came up with the concept for Spouse in the House and how you serve your clients?
Absolutely. So it's kind of a story that's been happening for, years in my life because let's just say I live in the solution. So me and my husband are fourth generation family business. So our great grandparents, our grandparents, our parents, and now us have always worked in a family business or worked with each other. So I got up early one morning. I'm earlier than my husband, and I was trying to be quiet. So I'm just kind of scrolling through and messing around on my iPad. And this idea for the Spouse in the House book just seemed to download into my brain. And I could not stop typing it out.
Wow.
And he wanders out and he's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I said, "I think I'm supposed to write a book about working with your spouse." And he said, "Oh, that's a great idea." So I that's how it was born. I just started typing it out. I didn't really feel like it was coming from me, and it just kind of
Wow.
downloaded into my brain.
Wow. Well, this is a community of spiritual entrepreneurs. And so I think that for all of us listening in and listening to that story, we absolutely understand when it's a divine download, how special and powerful that can be. And I just love every
Mhm.
time you discuss that story of how Spouse in the House came to be. And then also, how do you work with the clients that you have? Like, in what
So
capacity?
so yeah, there's 5 stages to the program that we've come up with. And the first stage would be assessing the couple. They actually go through an assessment because they're not sure how it's going to work or if they even should be a candidate at all. And let's just face it, some couples should not work together.
Right.
There there are 3 things that would tell you that you should not work together. Number 1, you both love your careers and you can't imagine doing anything else. Number 2, there's abuse or addiction. And so if there's any of those, you need to stop right there and go get help first. Um, because nothing will expose the cracks in your relationship quite like working together as business partners. And so those need to be addressed first. But what we do is we take them and we walk them through an assessment and kind of discover their talents, their gifts, where they can combine their superpowers together. and complement each other. Then we also, kind of walk them through, if they don't already have a business, we expose them to different business models. Some may be best, going and buying or starting a traditional brick and mortar business.
Mhm.
Some may be looking to a more non-traditional business model, and their personalities, their goals, their wishes, their dreams, their desires, their gifts, and their talents would all point them to a different type of business model. You would also be part of a mastermind and a community of peers where you can bounce ideas off of each other, where there's, opportunity for JV partnerships and referrals, and just sort of a safe space where couples can be real and raw and just say, well, this is what's rearing its ugly head. Is there anybody else out there who's gone through
Oh,
this?
I love that.
We've also, designed a couples retreat where they spend a dedicated weekend with just them and their spouse. They've got some, video to work through. They actually do some deep work on their relationship, and they take a business vow with each other, similar, to what you do when you get married. You
Yeah.
say marriage vows. And so we think it's really important that you also have a business vow together, because not every day is sunny and rosy. Not every day are you going to completely agree, and you are going to butt heads, and you are going to have to develop the skills to be able to work through those times, because there are some.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love the real and raw, because that's what we are all about here. It's just having those conversations and allowing, like you said, creating those safe spaces for these couples to say, hey, yeah, we're this hashtag power couple, but we are, struggling with this over here. And I just love what you've created, and I'm so happy that you
Thank
followed
you.
that download, because, I'm telling you, because I worked with one of my exes. And so anyone who's been listening to the show, that I was in narcissistic abusive relationships. So like you spoke of that emotional abuse, I had a financial abuse. Like, it was miserable, and we made a lot of money, but it was miserable. And so, I'm happy for you to say that, because sometimes people can think, well, even though our relationship is kind of in shambles, we both have these strengths and skills and maybe can combine them and at least create a successful business. And I just think that is the absolute wrong approach. So I love how you start with the assessment. Um, Now, let me ask you, so why do you believe awareness is really growing for entrepreneurial couples?
Wow. Well, it's just exploded over the last couple of years. I think the last couple of years, everything that we've been through has served as a huge wake up call for a lot of
Yeah.
people. There are those out there that believe that they've been sold a bill of goods with regards to career paths,
Yeah.
the opportunities, what's open to them, that they even should be in business. Maybe some people struggle with thinking that they should even be a business owner at all. So,
Yeah.
you don't have to look any further than all the buzz surrounding the great resignation. We've
Yeah.
all heard that.
Hmm.
And I can't drive anywhere without seeing help wanted signs.
Yep.
You see hiring bonuses everywhere. And now there's more to it, of course, but that is one part of it. I think the last couple of years, people have just, instead of, getting up and walking through this cloud or mist that they call life, it's time to make the donuts. Remember that old
Yeah.
commercial? They're challenging that, and they're thinking, this is really kind of stunk for me. I don't know if I want to go back to the way things were. I want a new normal. We've all heard
Yeah.
that the new normal is going to be this. Well, I think people have more control, and more ability to create their new normal than maybe we have for generations.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I realized listening to you is like, as a millennial, I am the last generation that was, I feel like, sold on go to college, get a good job, work there 40 years, retire, get a pension. And
Right.
so when I was an entrepreneur right out of grad school, I was literally looked at by all my friends and family as crazy. It was before
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, I felt like, was cool. This
Yes.
laptop lifestyle was a thing. And And so, I feel like you have the two spokes of this wheel of, being an entrepreneur, which in itself is its own, head game. And then you have
Mhm.
doing it as a couple, which in itself is its own thing. So, what would you say, of the clients you work with, are the most common hurdles that these entrepreneurial couples face?
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So there are a few.
Mhm,
So I would say the top maybe five would
mhm,
be number one, they don't get help.
mhm.
So, that's why in the very beginning we start out with an assessment, with some sort of personality assessment, because like we've discussed, not everybody should work together. So,
Yeah.
failure rate of new businesses, depending on your source that you're reading from, but that ranges anywhere between 65 and 75% of new businesses fail.
Yeah.
But you that increases actually when couples try to do it together. So
Mm,
the failure rate for businesses of couples that are in business is actually up over 80%
wow.
if they don't set the business up correctly and put safeguards in place and actually do the hard work of figuring out how they can, like I said, combine their superpowers. The next one would be that both partners are not committed. So it might be one couple, one half of the couple's dream to be in business together, but the other one is just like, you're crazy. I love what I do,
Yeah. Mhm.
or they are committed, but because both are entrepreneurial as far as their mindset goes and their strength, because let's face it, entrepreneurs are not wimps.
Yep.
They're both really strong.
Yep.
So neither one wants to relinquish control.
Mhm.
And they don't learn how to figure that part out. So they're constantly butting heads. And they voided some have voided the other's decisions, which result in chaos. And especially if you have employees, if
Yes.
one or the other is constantly voiding the other one's decisions or authority, then that just wreaks havoc with the entire company.
Yes, it does.
The next would be they never take action. They want to be in business together, but they think, oh, next year we'll explore that, or we'll wait until the kids are in school all day and then we'll explore that. They always come up with an excuse. The fourth would be they don't take the time to acquire the skills. So they've determined that they would be great working together. They are both committed to the process, but one might need to up their skills in a certain area in order to make sure the business has the best chance of success. And they just don't. They begin the business, they know that they're lacking in a certain skill set, but they just think that's going to come naturally, that's going to come later, and it doesn't. And then the fifth one would be that they neglect work and life balance. They allow the business to become all encompassing at the expense of their relationship and home life.
Wow. I mean, all of those are so profound and really eye-opening, but especially that last one, because, here on the show, we talk about that time balance, in pursuit of the freedom, the financial time and location freedom we all aspire and to have as entrepreneurs, um, but letting the take your life. Wow. Not setting those boundaries where it's a clearly defined separation of the and then of the home, especially when you have
Right.
children and other activities. So thank you for that. Thank you for
Oh,
that.
sure.
Um, and then I want to ask you too, what are the top two mindset blocks you believe entrepreneurs face when working and being in a relationship together? And then what's your number one way to help those clients deal with those mindset blocks? So it's a two-part question.
Okay. So the first one is some couples allow fear to have too much space in their thinking, and that shuts down the whole process before they even get started.
Mhm.
And the concept, I would say the second one would be the concept doesn't even exist as an option because, and we've talked about this before, the past few generations have been taught from a very young age, go to school,
Yeah.
get good grades, get a good job at a company, and then work really hard and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Now, there is nothing wrong with that for some people. But I think for too long, they've been trying to shove every single person into the same container. So, absolutely not, people are different. They have their own desires and goals and paths to follow. But for those out there who want to become a power couple, there isn't a lot out there as far as a process that takes them by the hand and walks them through the journey and helps to set them up for success.
Mhm.
And another one that I would say, and it kind of dovetails into what I just said, but the other one is the absence of anyone in their lives that they can look to for inspiration, for confidence, mentorship, and help.
Yeah.
And years ago, family businesses were much more the norm.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. So that's why you need spouse in the house. If you are thinking of doing this, or you are already an entrepreneurial couple, and you are hearing these blocks, these mindset blocks, these hurdles that Charylle is speaking of, then, the number one way to deal with that is get spouse in the house. Okay. So this is the part of the show where I like to call it like the mindset part of minding your business, where I
Yeah.
ask my guests these same questions so that those listening in can feel like you just were touching on, like, okay, I'm not the only one. So these are meant to be more rapid fire
Okay.
answers. So, okay, so first one, as a successful entrepreneur, what is one limiting belief that you have been surprised to experience at this level of success in your business?
Surprise.
Mhm.
Okay. There's two.
Okay.
One, I continue to be amazed by people who don't want to see others succeed and not letting that stick to me. I have to realize that that's on them. That's
Yeah.
their issue. That's what they've got to deal with.
Mhm.
The second is, even after all this time, and I'm in my 50s, girl. So
Mhm.
I still get
She looks
surprised.
like she's in her 30s, everyone. You
Uh,
can't see her, but
bless you. Bless you. The second one is that I still get surprised when I come up against an obstacle that seems overwhelming,
yeah.
or I have to pivot because something didn't work the way I thought it would or should, and I was convinced that it was going to. And so these things still kind of
Mhm.
slap me in the face once in a while.
Yep.
um but I think those would be the two that I
Mhm.
would name.
Well, thank you for that, and just being real and raw, like you said you are, and I know you to be. So then let me ask you now, what's the one mindset technique or tool or thing you do when either of those two limiting beliefs pop up?
Right. So I spend time in the living word of God
Mm,
every single morning.
okay.
And I choose to believe what he says about me and who
Mhm.
I am, and not what the
Yes.
world says about me, not what anyone else says about me, but who he says I am.
Ephesians 3:20. Everyone who's
Mhm.
listened to this knows I love Ephesians 3:20. So I love that. That, for me, I like to say I'm more spiritual than religious. So I like to, um, the spirituality that speaks to me, whether that is pulling from, Islam or Christianity or Buddhism, like whatever that looks like. But for me, when I was in the throes of the darkest times of my life, I went to the Bible and pulled scripture and the promises. And I was like, okay, I put God to the fire. I was like, listen, you said this, you promised me this
Yeah.
good life. And, so I'm calling in all of these and declaring all of these promises. And so I love that you say this is how you deal with those limiting beliefs. And so the next question is, who is inspiring you right now?
Oh gosh, there's so many people right now that are, coming to the surface. And I just think it's so awesome. I think we're
Mm,
experiencing a resurgence in
mhm,
a lot of ways right now in our country. But my husband always inspires me. So he is my rock and has been for over 30 years. I'm also inspired by anyone who dares challenge what doesn't sit right in their being and has the courage to walk out what they believe their personal calling and their personal mission is.
I know those listening couldn't see me, but I just was clapping, but I didn't want to clap too loud because, yes, we are all about defining our success. declaring our desire to be wealthy, like and successful and all those things. And so I love that. Oh, I love that, Charylle. Um,
Thank you.
so yeah, so last question is, what's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is you do you.
I love it.
So, opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone has one. And you just do you. Not everyone is meant to walk the same road. And if you are lucky enough to figure out what your road is, you walk it and you don't let anyone get you off track.
Wow. Hashtag power couple, hashtag you do you. I love it. Love, love, love. Well,
Thank
amazing.
you.
And I know that you have the Master Your Residual Income Summit coming up, which I have the
I
honor
do.
of speaking at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so on the topic, I'll be speaking on the topic of mastering your money mindset for success. So please give a little bit more information on that and where people
Yeah.
can register.
Yeah. So anyone can go to masteringresidualincome.com. It's the summit will actually air the week of May 9th. And so you can register. The event is free. You can also purchase the premium pass and get access to all kinds of bonus content. The summit for a year. You can log in anytime you want, because let's face it, we're all busy. We can't sit down for 5 hours a day and watch the summit. So
Yeah.
that's where you can find that. And then people can find me at spouseinthehouse.vip, where they can learn more about the Spouse in the House Power Couple program. They can get on the mailing list. There will be a free masterclass coming up in the next little bit here. They can get on the list to be notified when that happens. Or they can book a discovery call with me and see, if what we offer is a good fit. And so, yeah, that's two different ways they can find me. I'm also on LinkedIn at Charylle Wolfe. So
Hey, can you
I'm
spell
not
your
too
name?
hard.
Spell your name for them because I know that it is unique, a unique spelling.
For
Find you.
sure. Thanks, Mom. So my name is spelled Charylle, and my last name is Wolfe, Wolfe. So I'm not too hard to find, and I'd be happy to hear from any of your listeners out there with any questions. I'd love it.
Amazing. Okay. Well, MYB family, your takeaway today is to ask yourself how you are showing up in your entrepreneurial relationship. Even if you aren't in business with your partner, but how are you showing up with those you are working with? So that is your takeaway today. I love getting the responses to your takeaways. So continue to send them. You can send them to me via DM at The Brave Way on Instagram, on LinkedIn at Tierra Womack, or via email hi, so hi at thebravewaytribe.com. So thank you, Charylle. And for those tuning
You are
in,
so welcome.
yes, thank
My
you.
pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Yes, that was so much fun, so power packed with value, and really a rare conversation. You're the only person I know that's touching on it, and it's so needed.
Are you there? What happened?
Mindset, removing those money blocks, or need to find more white space in your calendar, please feel free to reach out to me and let's have a chat again. DM at The Brave Way on Instagram, or send an email hi at thebravewaytribe.com. Keep your head in the game. Remember that you deserve success, time, freedom, and balance in your life and business. And ask yourself, how am I minding my business today? Talk soon.